All right then, so now we've checked that this alias right here is unique down here. What we can do is go ahead and create a user. So the first thing we need to do is import the Firebase library. Now, I don't mean this database reference that we've already imported. I mean the actual Firebase library, so we can use the different auth services provided by it. So we'll do that up here. We'll say import Firebase from Firebase. Okay, so now down here we can use it. So the first thing I'd like to do is not only check that the alias is not null, but also the username, or rather the email and the password. We want to check that those fields inside the form are not null as well, because we don't want to request anything and send across empty data. We want to check the user has at least typed something in. So let's change this to and this dot email and this dot password. And for the feedback down below, instead of an alias, we'll say you must enter all fields. Okay, so we've done that check. Now we want to use this Firebase library we've just imported to interact with the auth surface and to sign up a new user. How do we do that? Well, we're going to do it down here in this else statement first of all, because if a document already exists with this slug, it means that the alias is already in use and they have to choose a new one right here. We give them that feedback. But if it doesn't exist, then we can go ahead down here and create that new user. So we'll use the Firebase library. Then to use the authentication services, we say .auth, and that is a function. And on this, we can use a variety of different methods to control the user flow. Now, we want to use one called create user with email and password. It's a function with a long name, so let's get right in that. .create user, and this is camel case, with email and password. You would have thought they could come up with a shorter version of that, but no, not yet. Okay, so this here takes in two parameters, an email and a password that you want to sign up this user with. So the email is stored here on this.email and the password on this.password. So we can just pass those in. We can say this.email and then a comma and this.password. All right, so we're passing those two things into this function now. That's going to go ahead and create this user, as long as this email doesn't exist and this password passes validation. All right, and by this email doesn't exist, I mean a user with that email hasn't already signed up. It's unique. All right, so this is an asynchronous task. It takes some time to do. Therefore, it returns a promise, and we can attach a .catch block to catch any kind of error if there is one. So for now, what we'll do is we'll just log that to the console. We'll say console.log and then the error, and we'll also update the feedback. We'll say this.feedback, and this is going to output on the form, and we'll set that equal to the error, and it has a property called message. So we'll output the message of the error to the user. And this is going to fire if there's something wrong with the email or the password that we're trying to sign up with. All right then, so let's give this a whirl in the browser. I'm going to just refresh to catch any changes and then inspect the element and go to the console so we can see any errors that come back. The email will be sean@thenetninja.com or co.uk rather. Password test1234 and alias will do net ninja. Okay, so if I try to sign up now, then we can see this alias is free to use. That's fine, we're getting the good feedback there. We should also now see, if we go to the authentication tab here and refresh, that we should have a new user stored in this authentication section. And we do. We have sean@thenetninja.co.uk. It says when they were created and when they last signed in, and this is the unique user ID that Firebase has created for us, for this user. Okay, so what happens if I try to sign up with this user again? Well, let's give this a whirl. We'll go back over here, use the same credentials, and we'll sign up. And first of all, we'll get the email address is already in use by another account. So we have to use a different email address. So that's cool. It's doing that kind of authentication. Now, if we try to do something like Sean P and then change this to just 12, the password, let's see what happens now. Sign up. And it says the password should be at least 6 characters long. So that error that we're getting back from Firebase where we're trying to sign up a user, that's now being output here so a user can see it, and it's more helpful, right? So now we're signing up a user and we're outputting any errors if there are any. But remember, when a user signs up, we also want to create a record for that user, which can store additional information about them in Firestore. We want to store their alias, like this thing here. Right now, we're not doing anything with this. We're just signing this person up, and we're not storing this alias in our user record yet. So we want to store that, the geo coordinates at some point, etc. So in the next video, we'll look at how we can create a mirror record in our Firestore for this user with that additional information.